threat intelligence can be incredibly useful, but it can also become another source of noise. New advisories, threat reports, indicators, vendor alerts, ransomware updates, exploit chatter, and security newsletters show up constantly. The hard part is not finding threat information. The hard part is figuring out what actually matters to your environment. So in this video, we are going to build a simple AI threat intelligence agent that reads threat items, extracts the important context, checks internal relevance, and produces a short security decision brief. Not an offensive tool, not a replacement for a threat intel analyst. A defensive workflow that turns noisy feeds into clearer decisions. Here's the workflow. We start with a small synthetic threat feed. Each item includes a title, affected technology, threat actor, or campaign context, severity, indicators, and a short summary. Then we load internal context. For the demo, that means a simple list of technologies and assets the organization cares about. The agent compares the external threat item against the internal environment. Then it produces a brief that says this threat is highly relevant, this one is worth monitoring, and this one is low priority for now. The goal is to move from raw threat information to a decision-ready summary. Threat intelligence without context can create more work than it saves. Critical advisory about a product you do not use may be interesting, but it is not urgent. A medium severity issue affecting your public-facing authentication system may matter much more. The question is not just, is this threat serious? The better question is this threat serious for us? That is where an agent helps. It can read the threat item, check your internal technology list, identify a likely exposure, and summarize the reason it matters. For the demo, we use two main inputs. First, a threat feed file. This contains synthetic threat items based on the kind of information security teams review every day. Second, an internal context file. This contains assets, technologies, owners, criticality, and exposure. In real life, those inputs could come from vendor advisories, CISA alerts, ISAC feeds. OSINT sources, EDR alerts, SIM data, asset inventory, or a CMDB. For this walkthrough, everything is local and synthetic. That keeps the demo safe and easy to understand. Now we score relevance. We start with the severity of the threat item, then we add internal context. Does the organization use the affected technology? Is the affected asset internet exposed? Is the asset business critical? Is there active exploitation or ransomware activity? Does the threat connect to an identity system, file transfer system, cloud environment, or other high-value target? The goal is not to create a perfect score. The goal is to make the reasoning clear enough for a human to review. The agent summary layer turns the score into a useful explanation. Instead of just saying high priority, it explains why. For example, this item is highly relevant because it affects an internet-facing file transfer service used by the organization, exploitation is active, and the affected system supports sensitive data movement. That is the kind of summary a security team can actually use. It connects the external threat to the internal environment, and it gives the human reviewer a starting point for action. The final output is a threat intelligence decision brief. At the top, it gives an executive summary. How many threat items were reviewed? Which ones are relevant? What is the highest priority concern? Then each top item includes the affected technology, relevant score, evidence, internal owner, and recommended defensive next step. This turns threat intel from a pile of articles into a prioritized review queue. The output should answer one question quickly. What should we care about today? There are important guardrails. The first, do not let the agent take defensive actions automatically at the beginning. Start with summaries, tickets, or review notes. Second, preserve the source of each claim. If the agent says exploitation is active, the human reviewer should know where that came from. Third, avoid turning threat intelligence into panic. Not every advisory is an emergency. And fourth, keep sensitive internal context protected. The agent should help prioritize, not leak your environment details. Once the local version works, you can expand it. Connect it to real threat feeds. Pull CISA alerts, vendor advisories, and ISAC updates. Connect internal context from asset inventory, vulnerability management, cloud inventory, and SIEM data. Create daily or weekly threat briefs. Generate tickets for high relevance items after human approval. And eventually connect the output back into vulnerability management, incident response, and GRC workflows. That is where this series starts to connect together. Monitoring vulnerabilities, GRC, and threat intelligence all become part of the same security decision system. That is the core idea behind an AI threat intelligence agent. It does not replace the analyst. It helps filter noise, connect threats to your environment, and turn information into a decision brief. In the next video, we are going to build an incident response agent that triages alerts, gathers context, and recommends containment steps for human approval. If you want more practical AI agents for cybersecurity and automation, subscribe